I'm really excited to talk to everyone about the pivot plan. And this is really how to reset your resume and reclaim your story. I wanted to get a sense, though, before we get going, how many folks have been impacted by layoffs or are transitioning, pivoting? Okay, just want to get a sense. Okay, can folks call out if they're comfortable where you are right now?
Rift from NIH.
Rift from NIH, okay. All right.
Rift from USAID.
Oh my goodness, okay. Yeah. Anyone else want to share? All right. I'm Rift from HHS, so I just wanted to share that. But also I do this work as well. So this is actually, I'm leaning into it full time now because of this. But I was going to do it eventually, so just, caught up with me at the right time. So, all right, now I got to figure out how to change the slide. This is the part where my technology expertise is not here. Hold on. All right, I just have to do it manually. All right, a little about me. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Kanika M. Watson. I am the CEO and founder of Kanika Watson Consulting. I've been doing this great work primarily for the government, but also across industries. I've done nonprofit, I've worked in higher education, worked with small businesses, corporations, you name it. And so I'm also a devoted wife and mother of an 11-year-old son. I want to say 10, but he'll kill me. He just made 11 a few weeks ago, so I guess 11. And I've done this for 20 years. And so I do a lot of work with storytelling, branding, work with companies, also work with individuals. Also helping with folks in the tech sector, yourselves. Also help women of color, all people. And also storytelling has been my big area. And I've taken that and built that into something that really helps with your career. And so it's a little bit of a slant that I've taken based on my background to help inform how you show up, whether it's a resume you're updating, whether it is an interview, whether it is a networking opportunity, whether it's being here at Drupal, meeting other people, how you show up, how you tell your career story. And I'm also an executive coach and accredited at the but the Public Relations Society of America. All right, so today we're going to focus on a few things. This is kind of tough because the mic is here, and I'm walking around like this, so just bear with me. But we'll cover a few things today. Really, what I want, like I said before, is to help you navigate, especially those who have been impacted. And even if you're just looking to change careers, it doesn't have to be a pivot. It doesn't have to be something that you have, had a layoff or a disruption in your career. It could be something as simple as I want to do something new, and that's completely fine. So we'll cover how to share your career story, reflects who you are right now. We're going to talk about how hiring managers look at your resume if they ever get their hands on it. We'll talk a little bit about that too, because things have changed so much over the past few decades, and how resumes are reviewed and who actually sees it and who doesn't. We'll talk about transferable skills. A few of you are transitioning out of government, so I wanted to nod to that and talk a little bit about what that looks like. Also, digital platforms, how to boost your visibility. Some of you are doing that already. Others are dipping your toe in. I want to talk a bit about that so we can help you get out there. And then also, how do you stand out in a market shaped by AI swingers, right? This is where we are today. We used to be able to send your resume to someone and they would look at it, but not in this day and age. Those ATS trackers are getting them before anyone sees them, if they even see them. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. I just asked this question, but I wanted to see before I move on, anyone else who just joined us want to share where you are in your career? And it's okay, we can speed right back past this if not.
I'm changing careers.
Changing careers, okay, all right.
Upskilling.
Okay, awesome, okay. Anyone?
Figure it out.
Figure it, yes, all of us. All of us, I think that's where we all are, right? All right, thank you for that. That helps me understand who I'm speaking with too. So I wanted to start by talking a little bit about starting with your story. Like I said, this is the area that I've leaned into, especially around career leadership development. So this is a quote from an article I just wrote that just was published a few days ago. So the quote is, resumes and LinkedIn profiles show where you've been, but it's the story behind the milestones that reveal who you are, what you stand for, and the impact that you're ready to make. Huge, important point. And we'll talk a bit about that in a moment. But that's something that folks probably don't think about. When you think about being laid off, when you think about shifting jobs, the first thing most people do is raise, anybody got resume, right?
Resume.
Yeah. You jump to the bullets, right? And just start updating. Don't think about the broader picture. And that's okay. I do it too. I did it too. And it's the instinct that we all have. And I want you to know it's okay, but there's another way to do this, okay? So we'll talk a bit about that. All right, this is really manual, you guys. I don't know if there's a clicker or something, but I'm having to actually touch the screen here. All right, let's rethink the rules. So this is another quote. Replace job lists with leadership stories, purpose, and results that make your value measurable and memorable. So measurable and memorable. That's something you want to remember. You guys, this is not working for me. Sorry. All right, this is how you can stand out on the page. This is really important. This is really good tips. So if you want to take pictures, go ahead and do that now. So there's where we shift for our mindset. Our mindset takes us to just updating bullets. I want you guys to think differently. Differently. It took me some time to get there myself. But after years of working with different clients and also reviewing resumes, because I've had to review quite a few in my career, this is something to remember. Shift from tasks to impacts. You want to lead with results, not responsibilities. A lot of us will get on our resumes and say, I managed this project. What did you do to manage it? What was the impact? Because you were involved, how did it change the course of things? You want to make sure that's captured in your resume. When you can, use metrics to show your influence. If you can. That is also helpful, yes.
So how do you ask for those metrics without people being like, oh, why is he asking about?
You need to track your success consistently if you can. It's not always top of mind, but as you're going through, think about your mid-years and your end of years. I don't know if you capture highlights. People capture highlights still? I know I did. Use those. Do your homework then. That's the time when people aren't paying attention to you. They're like, oh, he's doing it because he has to, yes.
Yeah.
But grab those metrics. See how your whatever project you worked on performed, how much change you made, what was the result, how did it improve a process, whatever it might be, and then you can add it to your resume.
Okay.
Yes?
If the metrics simply weren't tracked.
If they're not, then think about another way to show impact. You don't have to have numbers, only when you can. If you can find numbers that are attached to an actual impact statement, great. If you don't, talk about what changed. I improved a process. There's no numbers there, right? So don't always think about metrics all the time, only when you can. If it's applicable, because you can't have numbers on every single bullet, but the ones that make most sense, that are impactful, that stand out, to show what you were able to do, you should certainly try. Also, align your content with the role you want, not the role you're in now. And that's something that I had to learn. I would always put in things that were relevant to the position I was in. And if you're looking to move up, especially if you're looking to take on a new role, leadership, whatever it might be, it's best to align your content with the role you're looking to step into next. All right, any questions? Yes.
So how about if you were trying to take a pivot, but you're also applying in the lane that you're already in?
Mm-hmm.
So you can handle that with 2 different resumes, but how do you handle that in LinkedIn?
You can. So what you should do is whatever you're looking to do that you think is most relevant, find the throughput between the 2 jobs.
Okay.
Whatever makes sense that will align with both is best. I'm not saying put all the bullets for each of them together and it looks like a mishmash of things, but what would cross between the 2 jobs that's most important and relevant for what you're looking to step into, okay? All right. Also, use a modern voice. I've done this. Responsible for, does anybody put that on there? Yes. Do not use phrases like responsible for, and let each bullet tell a story, not a task. You're not listing your tasks. I had people ask me before, when they develop their resumes, my tasks have changed. And I gotta capture all the new tasks. I just got promoted. How do I get them all in there and then still keep the ones I had before? I'm like, that's not what you're looking for in your resume. Your resume is your story. You need to write in what you accomplished. What was your highlight? What stood out? What changed because you were there? What do you want your next employer to look at and say, wow, he or she was able to do that? They'll be great here. All right, and then also reflect your value, not just your time. Yes, the resume is in reverse chronological order, but that's not the goal here. The goal here is to tell a story about you, your career, your background, and what you've accomplished. And here's an example. Instead of managed OIT migration, say led agency-wide cloud migration impacting, 1,200 users, improving data security and reducing downtime by 40%. That's one that has metrics in it, but like I said, not everyone has metrics to capture. If you do, put them in. If you don't, it's okay. Find other ways to capture the essence of what you were able to accomplish. All right, I'm not moving fast enough here, so I'm going to have to speed it up because I know the time. I have tips in between here. So each of these slides, I have tips in here, so just wanted to run through these quickly. But don't, like I said, don't list just tasks. Design your resume to show transferable skills that matter in both public and private sector roles. So if you're transitioning between the sectors, this is a great tip to consider. Because I know in the government, where I'm coming from, we have a certain way we say things. We have a certain way we capture things. Our resumes are sometimes 12 pages long. And I've had those kind of resumes come across my desk. I've had a resume that's very long too. But when you're looking to transition, remember your audience. Always remember your audience, who you're speaking to, who you're trying to impress, right? Pretty much. And so think about how to capture what you did in government, and we'll go into detail on that in a minute, for a private sector position or whatever other industry you're looking to go into. All right, let's move to the next one here. So this is my favorite one. So this one is the anatomy of a modern resume. I'm going to go ahead and move these bullets real quick so I can try to do that. Okay. At the top third of your resume is your prime real estate. That's where you want the most important components of your career story to live. All right? The header, most people know in a modern resume, header is your name, your phone number, your email. No full addresses. Don't send anybody your full address anymore. That is so from the past. We used to do that. No longer now. Needed. Next, you want to make sure you have a headline. See, right underneath the person's name, there is a small headline there. That is the job you are looking to move into, okay? And that's optional, but it is something that's very helpful, and you can translate it to LinkedIn as well, all right? The next thing you want to make sure you have is you want to make sure you have a summary. Some of you already have the summary. I have a little love-hate relationship with the summary. It's the profile too. Most people lead with that, and then they move directly into their experience. My suggestion is if you decide to keep your profile, it's 1 to 2 lines long, very short, very high level, and then you move directly into career highlights. That is the 3 to 5 bullets that captures your experience overall. Not what you just did, not what you did 10 years ago, but an overarching, these are my favorite things that I was able to accomplish, or my greatest hits. And that's what you want to make sure you include in your resume. A lot of us don't have career highlights. A lot of us will just go into the profile and move directly into the professional experience. So I'm suggesting for you to add career highlights if you don't already have it. How many folks live by the profile or the summary? Have it in their resume? Okay, is it lengthy? No? Okay, short?
Like 2 lines.
Okay, that's good. 2 lines is good. Okay.
What is the font size for this one?
So this one, I don't know. I think I made it like 11.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about what I've done, 11. I wouldn't go past 10.
Okay.
They won't be able to read it. I mean, the tracker will, but the people who are looking at it, the humans who are looking at it, won't be able to read it.
Yeah.
You want to try to keep it where it's readable, so about 11 is a great size font to use.
Okay.
And something very simple like an Arial, a Times New Roman, or a Calibri, those are the 3 I would suggest if you want to know what types of fonts to use. All right. Any questions on the top part? Yes.
I've used objective at the top. Is that just because I'm old as heck?
Objective, I'm going to say this. Nothing wrong with the objective, but I think you can reframe it, okay? And I'm using the PR words here. Reframe it. That's my background, by the way, public relations. So reframe it. Maybe if you change it into summary or profile, and then make it short if it's not already short, where it's just a very high-level mention of what your background is. So in this case, strategic communications leader with 15 years of deep expertise in stakeholder engagement, cross-functional collaboration, and turning complex initiatives into measurable results. Then we drop into the career highlights, which shows the results. And that's important. Yes?
So profile you adjust to the job that you're targeting. Career highlight stays consistent.
You can change them. So if you're going, like you said earlier, if you're going to look at 2 different types of roles, you may want to customize, so it fits the role you're looking for. There may be a highlight that you have that's not relevant, that needs to come out, and one that's more relevant that you want to swap in. So I would say make a set of them so that you can easily, so you don't have to worry, oh my God, I got to try to write this up now, swap them in and out depending upon the role that you're trying to apply for. Yes?
Alright, so is it okay to mention education or certification of any type?
Yes, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good. It's towards the end of the resume. Used to be when you're younger, up top. Yeah. As you progress in your career, it's further to the bottom. In fact, it's the last thing on your resume. But we'll get to that in a moment.
Skills used to be farther down too.
Hmm?
Skills used to be
Yes.
at the bottom too.
And now people are moving them up to the top.
Is that because of ATS?
Yes. Keywords. Keywords. You want to make sure keywords are in your resume.
So
Yes.
I noticed you don't have locations. So like most of my experience is like remote.
Mm-hmm.
So do I just say remote or just don't say anything?
So you can say remote. Yes,
Okay.
it's helpful to mention that. Like on my resume, I do have some places I did work physically in the building.
Okay.
There were other positions where I had remote listed as my location.
Okay.
So they'll know based on where you have your location right here where you live.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah, where you're from, where you're located. And then they'll know it based on the fact that during 2020, 2021, to 2022, most people were working remotely. So it's
Okay.
completely normal. Okay? All right, let me move to the next one real quick. I'm going to skip a few slides. I know the time is running low. Let's see. All right, so above the fold, we mentioned this a little bit. So again, prime real estate above the fold. This is for human beings. The ATS trackers, yes, they do see this as well, but obviously when a human being sees your resume, they spend no more than about 6 seconds. I'm guilty of this myself. I don't know if you guys read resumes or recruit or hire, but you do have a stack and you have to get them quickly. So what stands out the most is what you want to make sure is on that first part of your resume. First 6 seconds is probably not even half the resume. They look at the top, they see what your background is, they look at your career highlights if you have them, and they sum you up that quickly. It's kind of unfair, but that's the way it works. Keep it tight. Like I said, the profile should be 1 to 2 lines. Follow with the highlights, and then for pivoters and folks who are being laid off or have been laid off, it helps hiring managers quickly decide who you are. They will not focus on what happened to you, layoff, right? They will focus on the strengths you bring to the table. So that's why this is really good to have them there if you don't have it already. All right. Back to, example. So you'll see here, I did 2 different resumes. One on the right is the one with just the profile. That's the profile of the past, right? They're a little longer, it kind of captures your whole entire career history, what you do, results driven, all that stuff. Career highlights a little bit different. So like I said, you have some stats and metrics in there too. You want to make sure that your highlights immediately show impact. And if you're looking to move into leadership or if you're already a leader, you want to make sure that's captured there too. You also want to make sure, like I said, metrics. You have a question? No?
Yeah, do you want your career highlights to not duplicate what would be under your experience?
As long as you don't word for word replicate it, you should be fine. A very high level, it's like a summary because they may never get to the bottom part of your resume or the second job or the third. They may never get there.
But if it's a key victory,
I would put it in there. Yeah, and you can paraphrase it so it's not word for word the same, but it captures the essence of what you have later on. Some people do get to the part, the meat of your resume, but when they don't,
I want to meet those people.
exactly. It's not very many. So that's why you want to pull them up here. So if you can do that, that'll be helpful for you. And then also it makes it easy to scan, right? They see right away, oh, he's got the experience we're looking for, she's got the experience we're looking for. Where this falls short, it's too vague. It doesn't apply to anybody. And you want to stand out. That's the point of telling your story. You want to stand out. It doesn't have any metrics in this particular example. No keywords that are really standing out, and no concrete results. Very, very just an overall general, this is who I am. And it doesn't make a strong first impression, right? You need, the whole goal is to stand out. All right.
I have another question.
Yes?
So,
No, keep going.
for like IT, under like skills or competencies, would you go into a long list of like languages or like software or is it better to keep it?
Keep it brief,
Okay.
but look at the position you're applying for.
Okay.
If they mention some of the languages that you know, put them in.
Okay.
And even if you know that something they may not list specifically, but you know will be great for the job, put it in.
Okay.
Not a laundry list, but the most important ones that you think will be applicable for the role you're applying for. Yes?
So there are scanners that can scan an application and pull out keywords. Is there value in that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I always say to put your skills underneath your greatest hits or your career highlights. And that is your opportunity to drop the keywords in. So look at the actual position you're applying for. Look at the announcement. See what the words are in there. You guys all know how to do this. You guys do this every day. But look at it and see what stands out to you. And then put those words Again, very brief, but put those words in a bullet format.
What if there's 50 words?
Then you want to pare it down. And you're going to have to make a decision based on what you think is most important for that role. I wouldn't put all 50 in there. Don't bog it down. I think for mine, I have, and for most people I've worked with, I've had about between 6 and 8. Sometimes, depending on the role, I might drop in an extra few because I think, ooh, what I have already is great. I need to add these 3 to really bring it home. So just err on the side of caution, like put in what you know would be appealing to the person you're applying for or the organization you're applying for, but don't overdo it and put in 50 and then your resume you don't get to the meat of your resume until page 2. But you don't want to do that. Think of your career lights as your greatest hits and not your job description. All right, back to the resume. Let's see if I can get this to work. All right, of course I didn't. Okay. Now we're moving past the first part of the resume. I mentioned the first third of it. Now we're moving down to the skills, the questions you guys just asked about. So again, this is optional, but I encourage it. I really do. I have it on mine. Make sure you include keywords, tools, systems, coding languages, soft skills, whatever you have that you want to share. Make sure they're there. You'll see here in this particular example, this individual has strategic planning, financial reporting, negotiations, communications, mentorship. These are important keywords that this person found in the job announcement. Okay? So make sure you highlight those. And then lastly on here, in this example, experience is important. Of course, that's what everybody has. It's usually in reverse chronological order. Some people have functional resumes that are slightly different, and that's fine. Some people have CVs. But again, make sure that they're impactful bullets and not just a laundry list of things that you did. It's a list of the best things that you accomplished while being in the role. Okay?
Where would you put awards?
At the bottom. So, education comes next. That was a question that was
So
from earlier.
awards would be its own section,
You
not
can.
with each job.
You can actually, you know what I did? I did that for myself because it got a little bit lengthy
Mm.
and a little strange at the end. I knew people weren't going to get to it. So I incorporated into the bullets. Like I might say, I accomplished, I was honored for this particular project that you did well. And
That's what I mean.
but you can also include the end. So again, education, certifications, so that was your question. That goes after your experience. All the things that you've listed here in your professional experience, you want education to follow. Yes.
Experience, how far back do you go?
Don't pass 15 years.
Don't pass 15 years.
Yeah.
And do you bullet point every one, or do you just bullet point the top ones and then?
You can bullet point each one, but again, you don't need that many bullets. A lot of people just fall into sort of the trap of like, I gotta put everything I've done, and then I have like 20 bullets per job.
I read somewhere not exceed like 5 for the top 2, and then make the bottom ones just 1 or 2 bullets.
That's a style you can adopt, or you can be consistent and do 3 to 5, maybe 4, whatever it may be, for each of the roles. But there is an option that you can. Let me get you 1 second. There's an option that you can do at the end when you get down to the bottom where it's like you got, oh gosh, you've already listed 4 jobs. You want to summarize maybe what you've done, and you can say generally, for the last, 15, 20 years here, I've been able to accomplish these 3 things, and I worked as a, manager of, acquisitions for this particular organization, and these are the organizations I work for, and this is generally what I was able to accomplish. So you can still list it, but I would not go into detail past 15 years. Don't do it. Yes. You have a question?
What if you been in your position more than 15 years, like 20, 25 years?
That's fine. You have to put it, yeah.
Just put one.
You can't, so if it's the same position you mean, or it's a progression of,
Same position.
yeah, you can still list it, yeah, absolutely.
So you just put one.
Yes, what you can do is break it up though. Especially if you've been promoted or you've taken a different shift or turn in the career, like you're more responsible for a certain program or aspect of it, you can certainly list it differently. You can create little sections. I've done that where when I worked in government, I had 3 jobs. And I started off with 1 position, right? And I listed the bullets, but then I progressed into something different. And again, these are highlights of that particular role. And then I progressed even further, same title job, but I was doing different work and it was growing. I was growing. Showing that growth is important and showing that leadership. So that's important. So you can certainly break it up so you can show it's a story. So show the progression of your role, your leadership, your responsibility. Yeah.
So quick question, it's actually twofold. The
Okay.
skills section, going back to the skills section, how do you feel about categorizing the skills? Sometimes I'll weave in the keywords
Mm-hmm.
through categories of my skills. So say project program
Okay.
management, and then they also want you to have, I don't know, let's just for lack of a better word, executive briefing, right?
Okay, okay.
I might stick executive briefing there or under a communications
Mhm.
category. So I technically have a lot of skills and competencies listed, but I'm categorizing them. So if there are keywords about program management, communication, then I'm kind of hitting two birds with one stone. What do you feel about that? You think that's too much?
It depends
Or-
on how you have it listed. Is it can you keep it tight and thin like this, or does it
Yeah,
create
usually,
more?
so instead of you have like 4 columns here, I might have 4 rows, and each row is a category, and then next to it is what those specific skill sets are that fall in a category.
All right, think like this. Think like a person who's reviewing resumes and what's easy to scan, right? So if it is complicated as you're building it out, that's a clue that it may be complicated for the person reviewing it. If you can take some time and think through your bullets, you may have to take some out. But if it does, translate to something that's very tight, I think it's fine. But if you're finding that it's becoming very lengthy and it's complicated to put together, I would use that as a clue to possibly streamline and so make it very tight. Because remember, this is really carrying the weight here.
Yeah.
This is really I'll just say this is for the machines. I mean, the machines look at everything, but this is really for them because you're pulling the keywords, it's your opportunity to do it out of the job description, but this is what's going to carry the weight. So I would focus mostly on this, and you can include this. But if you find that it's taking a lot of time to put it together and categorize it, I would err on the side of streamlining and making it simple as possible. You want people to be able to see your first job on the first page. So if that's not happening, that's another clue.
And then going to professional experience, if you say you worked at, I had a job at State Department, but I got promoted. So for a long period of time, I was at this level, and then I was at the next level.
Okay.
I have right now, it's separated as 2 separate sections, right? Here I was there from this point, and then I was there.
Yes.
Should I combine those sections to show the different roles, or just leave them separate since there's different timelines, different supervisors? I'm thinking from a government perspective when I'm applying, there's my supervisor name and all that.
That
So
stuff
keep it
goes
separate.
if you're looking outside of that. But yes, to your point, keep them separate because it shows that you've grown in your career. It's fine as long as you can cleanly. And what I'll also suggest here, you'll see this here. You'll see there's a very short summary before the bullets. This is your opportunity to talk about your story. So if you were promoted, for instance, you can mention promoted to role, moved into the position to lead, blah, 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 and continue on there. And then you put your bullets. And then below that, it shows the role that you moved into, right? So you should keep them separate if it makes sense for the position. And you want to make sure it's clear. That's one thing you got to make sure it's clear. They understand that you moved into a new role. So it's not, if you combine them, it's hard to tell that you've grown, you've progressed, you've been promoted, whatever it might be. Does that help answer your question? Yes. Okay, yes.
In your experience, your summary section there, are you editing that per job, or are you keeping that standard?
Say it again, say it again.
Are you editing that per job, specific for the job that you're applying for?
You can. You can. I would try to make your life simple.
How much?
Yeah. To make your life simple, think about maybe 2 different types of roles that you're looking to do and try to create 2 versions of your resume. That's what I would suggest. And then when you look at a job application, every now and then make a slight edit to maybe add something in that they're asking for that may not be currently showing up in your resume. I wouldn't go crazy and rebuild your resume for each position that you apply for because you're going to apply for a lot of roles. We all know that. The market that we're in right now, we're applying for a lot of roles. So I don't want to drive you crazy with that, but just at least maybe have 2 versions if it's 2 different types of roles, and then make light edits, but only where you think it makes most sense.
So I'm kind of seeing that the primary things that you should change is the title on the top under your name.
Yeah.
The profile.
And the career
The
highlights.
career highlights, and then the skills should match the.
Correct. And that's it. The rest, but you may find, then this is okay. You may find every now and then.
If you're attacking different roles.
Correct. Yeah. You may find it better to add something that wasn't there that you don't have in your current version that might show strength for something they're asking for. So use your judgment on that.
Okay.
But the changes really are here, and you don't have to change it for every job. Make it as simple as you can. Make it simple as you can. I don't want you to have to drive yourselves crazy trying to update for every role because you're going to apply for a lot of roles. So make it where it is, it covers most of the types of roles that you're looking to move into so that you don't have to do so much editing because that can drive you nuts. I know it drive me nuts when I was doing it years and years ago. All right. So this is the ATS piece, standing out in the stack. Here are a few tips for this. As I mentioned, a lot of AI trackers are in great business right now. They are looking at resumes all day, all night. And keywords are important, like I said to you guys before. So make sure that your resume template is ATS friendly. No tables in your stuff. I've done this in the past, I'm gonna be honest with you, way back in the day. Yeah, but if you do still have old resumes that have templates that have like tables, graphics, take them out, because these trackers aren't looking at that stuff. They're looking at plain text. They can read very easily. You guys know that better than me. They can read very easily. Use keywords, as we talked about. Keep it clean, and stick to readable fonts, and then submit it as a PDF. Do folks still send Word documents? I hope not. No. No Google Docs? No. Okay, good. PDF, unless they say otherwise. And why? Because 75%, it's a stat, 75% of resumes are filtered out before they even get to a hiring manager. So you don't want to be among that. So make sure you take these tips to heart as you're building out or updating your resume. All right, I'm trying to look at the time, hold on. Ooh, we got 15 minutes, okay, that breeze through this. All right, this is for those folks who are transitioning into or leaving out of government and moving into private, nonprofit, whatever it may be. So tips, again, condense your resume. How many people have more than 5 pages on their resume right now? Come on, I know it's got, okay. I know it's got to be more, y'all. Okay. Try to keep it as short as you can. I mean, you don't want to like take off things that are really relevant, but you don't want your resume to be a book either, okay? And I know in government, where I was coming from, we had 10-page resumes across my desk all the time.
Yeah.
We had to. That was part of what they asked for. They wanted detailed position titles.
They wanted your GS level.
Exactly.
Yes.
Some wanted salary. I mean, your supervisor. I mean, none of that in the private sector, okay? Also, strip the extras. Like I said, no GS levels. Translate the language. Replace the government policy heavy terms. Some folks in the private sector, if you're moving into private sector, will not understand that. And I know you're looking like, what? But I'm serious. They won't understand it. They won't. And I've seen it. And you want to make sure that your impact or your accomplishments translate cleanly over to a different sector, whether you're going to private, profit, corporate, whatever it might be. Showcase your transferable skills. So focus on leadership. Cross-functional work is important. You'd like to see that. And strategic impact. All right? Okay. Oh, sorry. I saw you getting it. You got it? You got it? Okay. All right. Say it stronger. This is also from the article. Silence is not a strategy. I've told people this. It's not. You have to speak up. You have to share your success. LinkedIn is an option, right? For you to share some things you've been able to accomplish and to also provide updates on things you know a lot about as an expert. But when your role is shifting or new opportunities are on the horizon, an old untold story leaves too much to interpretation. You do not want someone else to tell your story. And your story is your career story. You don't want it to leave it up to people's interpretation, especially after a pivot or layoff. You don't want to do that. That's why you lead with your story. All right, so I want you guys, your traditional way of working on your bullets. I want to flip the script a little bit, right? So this is a formula. You can grab this one too. This is a formula. Results/action. So that's what was achieved, what impact did you have, plus problem, situation, or challenge. That is, what challenge did you solve? What was at stake? That equals your accomplishment. A resume bullet that tells a story, not just a task list. Like I said, you have to show your impact. They'll give you an example. Instead of responsible for managing team projects and deadlines, people do put that in. Try this. Cut project delays by 30% by leading a cross-functional team through a new agile workflow. It's a different way of putting it. It's the same thing, but you're sharing what your impact was. And you're, if you can, like I said, when you can, put some metrics in there if you can find them. All right? So again, results and action plus problem, situation, or challenge equals your accomplishment. Same thing. Lead with results, not responsibilities. Show it change because of you. All right. Here are some power verbs. Like I told you, was responsible for is no longer in your vocabulary. I don't care what you say, take it out. It is no longer a part of your vocabulary. these are some examples. There's way more than this, but I threw some in here that I thought would be helpful. So if you're trying to show leadership and strategy, led, directed, spearheaded, oversaw, orchestrated. If you're looking at showing results and growth, increased, boosted, accelerated, expanded, efficiency, problem solving, streamlined, improved, resolved, reduced, simplified, innovation, created, launched, designed, developed, initiated. And here's an example. Worked on implementing a new software system, that's great, but led cross-functional rollout of new cloud-based CMS, increasing content publishing efficiency by 30% and ensuring 100% accessibility compliance. That is a better way of sharing your story. They know what you did because you were there and you helped to bring impact or provide impact. You changed how the software was implemented because of the work that you did. But this does not tell that story. If anyone can put this on their resume, then that just tells you that it's not been customized to show your impact. That can go on anybody's resume, the top one. But this one goes on yours, specifically. Strong verbs signal strong candidates. Use confident, active language that owns your value. All right, I got 9 minutes, you guys. So, based on what we talked about, we're almost there. Based on what we talked about, what do you feel on your resume needs most attention?
Top half.
Yeah,
Top half?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Highlights.
Highlights? Okay.
People even do cover letter. I mean, some people,
Yes.
some request cover letter. I
Yes.
guess it's always, I'm always like, I have the highlights in my cover letter already. That's you.
That's you.
Do I take them out and put them on my resume or grab them both places? Sorry, I mean, it's kind of.
No, your cover letter is your ad. Oh yeah, keep
So
it.
I have them.
Yes, your cover letter is your ad. Sometimes people read that before they even get to your resume. They may not even get to your resume based on your cover letter.
Okay.
But keep it.
Okay.
Yes,
Does a cover letter help you get to a human?
it can. Networking is a big piece of this, which we don't cover here. But think about networking as another option for you. Especially if you're writing a cover letter, you met someone, that is specifically written to them. Hi, so-and-so, I met you at so-and-so event. And here's my, resume, and this is the things I've been able to accomplish, and these are the things I can bring to your organization. So yes, the cover letter still lives.
Okay.
A lot of people are skipping it.
Well, sometimes
They
they
are.
require it.
Yeah, and they do, some do. But people are skipping them. But it is a great way to stand out, and it's your opportunity to put an ad in. If you have an opportunity to advertise and promote yourself, you should take it. So definitely consider it. Just don't make it long.
So I always think with the cover letter, if they state what they're looking for, and you can, in the cover letter, your need, and then list,
Mm-hmm.
with bullet points maybe, what experience you have that meets their needs.
Yes.
You've basically done the work for them of scanning your resume.
You have, and if they never get to your resume, that may be the way in.
Yeah.
If they never look at your cover letter and you have the highlights, that's your way in. So you're covering
So
yourself
you've
twice.
covered your bases.
Correct. Exactly. All right. All right, we're on the last part. I'm going to try to speed through this really quickly. Again, from the article, view your career through a fresh lens with the same clarity and creativity you bring to your clients, your customers, then own the story that speaks for you. Okay, it's really important. That's why I said don't list your responsibilities, list your story. So again, optimizing on LinkedIn. So if you want to then go to LinkedIn, if you're not there yet, I suggest you get on. It's a great place to go. A lot of employers will look there first. They also look at other stuff like Facebook and Instagram, but make sure LinkedIn is updated. So update your headline. Go beyond the job titles. Again, leverage what's on your resume. You don't have to start from scratch. Look at your resume once you've updated it and got it to where you like it, and take some of that content and move it over to your LinkedIn. Okay? Refresh your summary. Echo your resume wins. You can do that under each position. You don't have to put the full thing you have on your resume, but grab again highlights from that job. Add a clean banner. It's optional. You don't have to, but if you do, that's great. And it's okay to put on turn on work. It's okay. And there's an option, I think. You may know this already. I don't know. There's an option where only recruiters can see it. So if you don't feel comfortable putting yourself out there, it's okay. There are other ways to show that you're open for work without having to tell everybody. But it's okay. It is the norm. Unfortunately, it is. All right, another pro tip. LinkedIn isn't just your resume, it's your professional reputation. Again, that's why I suggest getting on if you're not already on there. Let it reflect who you are now and make sure you're ready to take action. All right, here's some steps that I want you guys to take. This is optional again, but this is a great way to get started on this. So, again, you don't have to do all this at once, but start with refreshing one section of your resume today, tomorrow, this weekend. Start there. Pick an area that needs the most love. You guys have indicated a few areas that need most love, and that's great. Tweak your LinkedIn headlines. This is another one. Again, these are optional. But align it with where you're going, not just where you've been. Reach out to one contact. Networking is critical, especially in this day and age when ATS trackers are looking at everything. And sometimes we never even see a human being. Start making contacts now through friends, through networking at organizations that you're tied to. Drupal, it's a great way to network. And other ways. And make sure you network on LinkedIn too. You can certainly reach out to people through LinkedIn. And then, want to copy your resume and template or tip sheet? You'll receive them by email if you give me your email. And I'll send you a template if you'd like of an ATS approved resume. All right. And last but not least, you don't have to do it all at once. Start one section at a time and make sure you build the momentum from there. Once you've updated one section, it'll inspire you to want to update the next and the next until you get it to the place that you think it's really ready for a prime time. All right. Need more support? If you want to go ahead and grab this, you can. This is how you can reach my website. It has free resources on there. Also paid resources as well. But again, it'll help you with anything you need done for your resume services I do. I do strategy sessions if you're interested, and also custom career branding support if you'd like that as well. And there's also, I think I have a free resume guide on there too, quick start guide, so you can look at that. And also I have career recovery essentials for folks who've been impacted. The day I was laid off, I literally started writing. Built that out in like a week and put it out there for folks that I was working with, my staff, and others who were impacted across government. So, and anyone, in any industry actually. So if you want to check those out, those are as free as well. So grab that, and that's it for me. Any questions? I know this went kind of fast. I was kind of breezed through. I kept the time. Any questions? And last question, yes.
Have you used any of those like AI, like Enhansive or even ChatGPT or Copilot?
People are using it. I mean, that's where we are today. I just my only caution is this. Make sure that your creativity is front and center, though. You can certainly leverage it for, review, a thought partner,
Right.
that kind of thing, but don't make it your only resource. You want that human side to still stand out. Yes?
Some of those have scores for keywords and stuff like that. Should you concentrate on that? Should you pay attention to having a high score with keywords, or?
You can. I drive myself crazy with some of that, though, sometimes, so I think your judgment is the best way to go. I mean, look at the positions that you're looking for. You know what they're asking for, and leverage based on that. You know the work you guys do in web and tech. You know what they're looking for when people are putting up content on sites.
We think we do, but.
Kind of do. Right. So think of it that way. You're the expert. So you know exactly what they're looking for, so you need to put in what you think they would want to see. Okay? Yes?
How do you feel about using your official job title and role versus, let's say, one that maybe if it reflects what you were actually doing, or like maybe where you want to go, maybe either ethically or
In the position, like the actual professional experience, or in the top part where you have the headline?
in the
Professional
experience.
So if you're applying for another government role, they're going to want to see the actual job title. Sometimes what I'll do is, it's like, for instance, where I was working, I was director of such and such and such, right? But it was supervisory public affairs specialist or something like that. So I put it in parentheses so it's clear the position. But I was a government to government transition. When you're moving into private sector, there's a little bit more fluidity and flexibility there. You can explain it in the little summary. Well, I have a finger. But the little summary part I showed you before each job is like a little 3-4 lines. You can explain the role there so they can see what it is. So it's okay, but I would certainly, if it's a government job, put the technical title in. If you're moving out of government into the private sector, then you have more flexibility, but explain your role. Okay. Yes?
I've read someone say that you could put a couple of different titles, but your first one is your official title, / what you really did / what you really did.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because, those positions, sometimes that unofficial title will really explain your role a bit better. That's why I always say just put the official next to it, very close to it, in parentheses, so they know that's the technical title on the PD, but this is the position I actually held in this organization. I was director of so-and-so. You cannot tell that I was director of so-and-so based on supervisory public health, public affairs specialist. It could be anything. So certainly you can certainly put it close by. So it's not hidden, you're still being ethical about it, but you're also telling them this is the role you held and here's the role you're in.
I haven't been looking since before the advent of the AI stuff, and I really worry about it because I'm more of like a utility player.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to put certain things in skills that might come from the posting because I don't feel that I'm specifically proficient enough, but I could pick it up really quickly. I think if my resume got to a human being, that would become clear, but I'm just worried I'm gonna get filtered out before that.
Ethical, just like you said, ethical. So if you feel confident that you can speak about it, you can put it in. If you had training and you've done it somewhere, you can put it in. If you have never touched it, and you know you can learn it, but you've never touched it, I wouldn't put it in.
Okay.
Yeah, for those reasons, because they may, like you said, they may pull you in because, oh, she has Python experience. I want her to come. And it may not be your experience. You could probably learn it very quickly, but when you get in, that's when you share, this is what I'm able to do, very quick learner. And these are the types of things I've been able to accomplish, and this is what I can do where I am coming for you. Okay. Yes?
I'll just say, follow on with that, is oftentimes if there's something like that I haven't had much experience in, or I've just like started looking at it, I'll put that in the cover letter so that it's still something that they're looking for, and I'll say, I've recently been brushing up on that kind of stuff, so that way it's still covered, or like I'm a fast learner, and I've already started looking at it, that kind of thing.
That's perfect. I love that. Yeah, that's a great place to put it as your ad. Yes?
I was just gonna say, I work in an office with like 20, 25 people.
Mm-hmm.
We're all public affairs specialists
Okay.
at 1035.
Okay.
But we're divided into teams.
Okay.
So they have us put secondary, like I'm the internet team lead.
Okay.
And then someone else is on the media relations team, and someone else is on the social media team,
Uh-huh.
et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So they have us put that as our secondary title.
Okay.
And I would feel perfectly comfortable having that on my resume.
Yeah.
Because it's not on a document anywhere though.
It's
the
not.
documentation
And that's
says public affairs specialist.
It does, and it doesn't tell you anything.
1035.
Yeah,
But-
no, it's okay to put that. As long as you are able to, like I said, very close by, mention what the actual PD says, but you can put the focus. I mean,
Yeah, my whole job is.
But
Yeah.
also it identifies a specialty.
exactly. They need to know that
Yeah.
because it's not going to come out in the public affairs.
And my boss himself would say, yes, this is what she does for us
Yeah, exactly.
on the team.
And then he or she is going to speak to that when they do the references. So yes, one second. Yes.
This was really helpful, thank you. Could you talk a little bit more about kind of how the mystery that is the HES works? Like, is there waiting for certain keywords? That just kind of helps me because I realize we're trying to thread the needle of satisfying the machine first, and then satisfying the person second.
And that's a great question. It's a tough one to answer because different organizations use different AI, and it just depends on how they've set it up and what they're looking for. But what you can do, like I said, is what they're going to definitely track against most always is what's on that job description and what you have on your resume that connects with that job description. And so that's why it's important to make sure you do include keywords that you feel comfortable saying that you've completed or you've done or you have experience in. But it's so hard because you may apply one place and they have a tracker that looks at certain characteristics differently than someplace else. So it's really hard. That's what makes it so hard in this job market right now is these machines are set up and they all have different algorithms in the way they track and you don't know what one is doing versus the other. So the best way to protect yourself so that you have a fighting chance that 75% that don't make it is to make sure that you are closely tracking with the position. So whatever you're applying for, they're going to look at that position. They're going to look at your resume and they see something that crosses over. They may consider you may actually get to a human. Yes.
So I think, I'm not sure if you mentioned before about you kind of said about the page numbers, obviously not 5. Is 2 okay, or just keep it at 1? Okay.
2. So mine's 3, and I've been doing this for 20 years, so I got it down. I wasn't able to do it, but I was able to get down to 3 because I had a government resume, and it was like, I don't know how many pages, it was so long. So I had to distill it down to 3. So 3 is good, it's reasonable.
Okay.
If you can do 2, fantastic. But if you can't, 3 is okay.
Okay.
Yes.
You briefly mentioned references. Where do they fit in?
You don't need to put it on your resume. They're going to ask for them if they want them. And so you don't need it. Some people do, and don't take the real estate up with that. Don't.
Okay.
You can use that for telling your story. If they ask for them, then you can create a separate document that has them listed, or they may even ask you just to shoot it as an email over to them.
Okay.
So no need to put it in the resume. That we used to do that, but not anymore.
I'll put a link on mine to the portfolio site.
That's great. Fantastic. That's a great point. Portfolio site link. If you have that, definitely include that in your resume. You have that. Yes.
For the header of your first page, is it okay for the second and third pages to have a slightly condensed header, like with just your name?
Mm-hmm.
I think on my first page it might be like five lines maybe.
Yeah.
But in the second page, I was like, I need more space for the experience.
No, reduce
so
it.
I only left like my name, a
Yeah.
credential, and I think maybe my email. Like, is it okay for
That's
it to
fine.
be condensed on the second page?
You're doing more than most people do. Some people don't do any of that, and they just have the header on the first page, and then they just number them, and that's fine too. So it's good that you have that. So in case for some reason things
What if
get mixed
somebody
up,
printed it out? I always think
Exactly.
somebody's gonna print this. They're probably not printed. That's just my
you never know. I mean, where I was working, it was
No
like
one's
stuff. So
printed.
you never know these days, right? So, but it's good to have it. It's good to have that on the top. I think it's fine. As long as you condense it, it's not the whole header that you had on the first page, you're good to go. And make sure you number your pages. Okay.
And is it true not to put the date in which you graduated from? You know, because at that point you're dating yourself, and ageism is a thing.
I didn't think.
So for a long time, I had like the dates I attended my bachelor's. And as time went on, I'm like, oh no, I'm 20 years in the government. This is not going to work well in my favor if I still have these dates. Is it okay to leave it off, or should we at least say obtained and then the end date of when?
End date is fine.
Okay.
You don't have to put the range. But some people, it took them a number of years to finish school, and it could be a range of more than 4 years, and they may not want to just share that, and that's okay. So the completion date is fine, as long as you have a completion date, because some of these places will verify your degree. Depends on where it is.
So, but if it's okay to have a completion date, then it looks like I had like 10 years I didn't work. You know what I mean? Does that matter?
Well,
So you
explain
said
to me how
over
you're
14.
explain to me how you're saying that. So you're saying that on
Like,
your,
I mean, if you're showing only the last 15 years of work,
Mhm.
and I graduated 30 years ago,
Mhm. So you can put a line. So in between that, if that's a worry, you can put a line like I mentioned
earlier
before.
roles.
Yeah, the earlier roles piece, and then
Okay.
you just have like a very tight summary of the types of roles that you held from
Okay.
this year to this year. So it just tells them, yeah, I was working, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you all the bullets
Okay.
from 1990, whatever it might be. I had to do that to myself as well. I had to take the roles I had out from 15 years after where I'm now and make a summary statement that just mentioned I was still doing communications right out of college up until these roles now that I'm describing to you. Okay. Any last questions? I know I'm a little over. Yes.
Nothing, just the next speaker.
Oh, well let me.
I think they wanted to, do you want to hear?
Thank you guys.
You're recording.
Oh yes, thank you for finding.